I'm also the founder and director of a company called EARWAX, and EARWAX are the manufacturers and developers of the wireless eye clearscope, which is the device that we're using to visualize the ear whilst performing the procedure. We also train ear professionals around the world in endoscopic ear care, and if you are based in the UK and you're suffering from a blocked ear, please do visit our website, which is www.clearwax.co.uk, and you can find your nearest specialist. So we have a client here who attended with bilateral occluding earwax and also dead keratin. The patient was a bit elderly and his head wasn't as steady as one would like, really. So we're having to, whilst performing the procedure, having to mitigate for any sudden head movements made by the patient. I think partly the patient was a bit nervous at the beginning of the procedure, but as the procedure went on, he became a bit more comfortable and less anxious. We can just see how much head shaking there is at the moment, and obviously we're inside the ear canal, so we have to be very careful and delicate. We don't want to be grazing the side of the ear canal or causing any trauma to his eardrum, and it makes it even more difficult when we're going very deep in his ear, like we are here, because there is some wax directly impacted on his eardrum, and he has got a lot of dead skin. With dead skin like this, you try and remove as much as we can, because this type of dead skin can get infected and cause infections and erosions of the ear canal. So you can just see we're just very gently and delicately removing this wax off the eardrum. And you see all the white debris on the perimeter of the ear canal. That's dead skin, dead keratin. My first objective is to alleviate the patient of his symptoms. So the reason why he attended, because he couldn't hear. So everything around the edge at the moment, although I do want to try and remove as much as I can, my primary aim is to remove the occlusion so the patient can hear, because that's why the patient attended. And because we can see the eardrum already, the patient's symptoms have been alleviated. So at least if nothing else, when the patient leaves the clinic today, he is able to hear, because that's why he attended. So now that I've removed the main blockage and I'm able to visualize the eardrum and the patient's symptoms have alleviated, I'm going to now try and go back in slowly and remove some of this debris around the ear canal and also a bit on the eardrum. The patient has, I think we'll see, I think he's become a bit more steady now as well. He's got used to the procedure. Remember, when someone's going in your ear, it's never going to be nice. It's not uncomfortable, although it can be in sometimes, depending upon the complexity of the procedure. But it's not a nice feeling, someone going into your ear. Your ear is a very sensitive organ, and it's also very noisy when we go in there with microsuction. And I think you can see now the patient's become a lot more at ease, is a lot more stable, which now allows me to do a bit more of the delicate precision work around his eardrum and the ear canal. So we're just at the roof of his eardrum there, just some dead keratin that we're trying to peel off, and now we're at the back part, the posterior portion of his eardrum and ear canal. And we're using a fine end gauge now. We don't need to, I think I did go back in a bit later on with a full zonar suction probe. I think here we are actually, so I'm just trying to get some wax a bit more immediately and dead skin. But whenever I'm trying to work around the eardrum, typically we use a fine end gauge. A fine end gauge is an extension. We attach it to the end of the zonar suction probe, and it's quite literally half the diameter, so it's less suction power, but it is more concentrated. So although it is less powerful and less noisy, if you do attach it onto a solid piece of dead skin, for example, because of the small surface area, you do get more pressure. So in some instances, it can be more effective. I find a fine end very good at peeling dead keratin. The major benefit of a fine end is that it's less atraumatic. So if you do come in contact with the eardrum or ear canal, you're less likely to cause trauma, cuts, bleeding. You're less likely to perforate the eardrum. So I do prefer using it when we're close to the eardrum. And also when the ear's clear and we're close to the eardrum, the fine end does emit less suction noise, so it's not as noisy for the patient, so they're more at ease. And you're less likely to cause temporary threshold shift or permanent threshold shift, which is a permanent hearing loss or temporary hearing loss due to the noise exposure. And also you're less likely to cause tinnitus for the patient. So we finished the left ear, very pleased with that. Got as much dead skin out as I could comfortably and safely as possible. On the right side, the wax is a bit more lateral, so near the entrance. There is an opening here, so I decided to use an ear hook, and I managed to slide into the gap and bringing this wax forward. So you can see the wax is very dry. There's a lot of dead keratin there. You tend to find as the patient ages, the ear canals get drier, the earwax also gets drier. So there's, and I'm just having a think as to why that was. So one of the things that makes earwax a bit wetter and softer is a substance called sebum. Sebum is secreted by the sebaceous glands, and the sebaceous glands are glands that are found with hair follicles. So the entrance of one's ear canal, you've got these cilia, these hairs, and they obviously have hair follicles rooted deeper into the cartilage portion of the ear canal. And you've got these sebaceous glands which secrete sebum. Sebum is a kind of a waxy, oily lipid secretion. It contains alcohols, cholesterols, long chains, should I say, of saturated and unsaturated fatty acids, squalene. And that provides a bit of moisture, kind of a moisturizing lubrication effect of the ear canal and skin. And I'm just thinking, so as we get older, obviously, men in particular, we kind of lose some of our hair. I'm going through that at the moment, so we do become bald. And I suspect as part of the process, these sebaceous glands are also die, they lose their ability to secrete sebum, that substance. And that's why older people so it's not only the hairs in the ears, but also hairs at the back of their scalp. Yeah, you just lose some of that sebaceous glands and everything gets dry. That's just one of the theories. I might be wrong. I might well be wrong, because thinking out loud now, we tend to find as patients get older, their ears get hairier. And they've got more nasal hair. So actually that, now that I'm thinking out loud, that contradicts. So possibly just ignore everything I've just said, but who knows. But yeah, generally older patients have dry earwax, dry ear canals, just like this patient. That's all the wax I extracted from both ears, so 314 milligrams. I hope you enjoyed that video, guys, and I hope you enjoyed me thinking out loud, trying to figure out more stuff about earwax. Earwax is kind of understudied. However, in the last couple of years especially, there's a lot of research going into earwax, and it's believed that earwax can be a sensor almost to detect stress levels. So cortisol is a hormone that's secreted when you're stressed, and one of the most accurate ways it is